Check, check. There we go. There we go. Is that better? I think that's better. Are we good there? Are we good there, folks? I think we're good. Can you hear me? Let me know if we're hearing Ricky. I think we should be good there. So let's make sure. All right, Paul, we're gonna have to reboot. We're gonna start this all over again. So let's take it from the top. Basically, you have built a huge following on LinkedIn. I'm still working on the output here. I can hear it, so I'm not gonna trip on that.
Yeah, somebody else told me you were muted.
Okay,
so
are we good now? You can hear
it.
now. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Ascending, thank you. Ricky, thank you. Okay, let me set the show up again. My apologies. I'll get Paul tuned up. I can hear him, so I'm not going to trip too much on that. As long as you guys can hear me, apologize to the audience out there. Let's start it over again here. Let me set it up. All right, my name's John D. Villarreal. Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, Ascending will deal with that here. Ascending will deal with that. I got to be careful on that. I may not be able to, be careful here. Okay. My name's John D. Villarreal. I am a legitimate, bona fide, certified super genius, if you will, political expert. I've got an undergrad degree from Berkeley, a law degree from Berkeley. I practice at one of the top firms in the country in Silicon Valley. I've been a national TV host. I've been a major market talk radio host or fill-in host, everywhere from San Francisco, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, Miami, Tampa, now all that type of stuff. I've got a MBA and a Master's of Communication, MBA with honors, Beta Gamma Sigma from Johns Hopkins, and a Master's in Communications with a 4.0 and A pluses, which is like super hard to get. I'm only getting that with 80% of my classes at Johns Hopkins. Unbelievable. I've done so many different things. I've trained professional athletes. I've been in a venture fund. I've done all kinds of stuff. We built up 63 million views on the YouTube channel. We were doing this. We were doing things like way before. I mean, way back in the day, we were bigger than Steven Crowder and all kinds of different things. I ran campaigns. I've consulted for 2 U.S. Senate campaigns, at least coast to coast. One actually made and unofficial a little bit, but one in California, one here in Florida. I've done all kinds of different things. I've been heavily involved. I've met and shaken hands with Donald Trump, Henry Kissinger, Bo Snurley from the Rush Limbaugh Show, James Go. I've exchanged emails with Kayleigh McEnany, exchanged emails with, interviewed Colonel Allen West, interviewed Senator Santorum, exchanged emails with Tucker Carlson. I mean, on and on and on and on and on. I'm deep in it. And I'm telling you, I'm a political expert. My family's been involved in government. Our calls have been spot on. And that's why you followed Vince, aka real name Paul F. Villarreal, on Twitter, because we talk all the time. It used to be back in the day that Paul was a liberal, and like many people, whether it's Barry White, I'm not alleging anyone, but I mean, people have made the journey. The great Ronald Reagan has made the journey, okay, over to the conservative side. And I kept telling Paul, you got to listen to Limbaugh. You got to listen to me. You got boom, 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 all this type of stuff. And Paul's research, this guy is second to none in the research. You're talking about an Ivy League Cornell graduate here. You're talking about someone that's deep in it. You're talking about someone that, because of where he came from and having, went from blue pill to red pill, or however you want to see it, in the Matrix, or whatever you want to say, really was kind of snowed, if you will. A lot of people out there are sleepwalking, and we understand that. There's no conspiracy theories here, but like Steve Bannon says in War Room, we're not about conspiracy theories, but there's no coincidences, okay? And so because he's been in that, he understands the tricks. He understands what the messaging and the propaganda is. And that caused Paul to do just some deep research. And he's been following the rallies, and he's been posting stuff, and he's been reposting stuff, and he knows what's going on. And it's almost because, so much of his life, and I'll let him speak here, and we're going to tee him up in 1 second. He's felt that kind of, that veil of propaganda that he has really honed in and done research unlike any other, and that's why you love his tweets. So yes, Paul has built up a following of 16,500 plus strong on X, and he's been posting stuff, and big heavy names of following him and retweeting him, including Elon Musk on down, okay? And then the political side as well. And now we were talking about last night, he came up with this, and I came up with it, and we were brainstorming, and I'm like, hey, you need to reveal yourself. You need to get out of anonymity here. We were some of the OGs. We were some of the originals. We were on social and doing the conservative thing before it was way before it was cool. We got canceled before anyone knew that there was a canceling. And when we've got Cat Williams dropping knowledge out there, and we've got, Tucker Carlson and all these other people coming out, we had to stand up. We had to stand up. I've been a little bit disengaged from politics, but it's time to be re-engaged. We had the, Trump out there, and voters of Iowa spoke last night, and it's time to do this. So, Paul, without further ado, tell us again, I've reset you. What have you done on Twitter? And now that you've done the reveal, lay it out.
Okay, yeah. So that's a pretty good summary there. We were having muted issues earlier. John and I actually said a lot of this, but we'll repeat it now. As far as myself, as John mentioned, look, both of us, John and I grew up in like a small farm town, essentially, but we've both been at big universities. We've lived in big cities, so we've kind of seen the whole thing. I will say on Twitter all the time that I'm in Appalachia right now, but I've been in the big cities too. We've been to the big universities, so we've seen all of this from all sides. As John just said, I was a liberal. I was totally brainwashed. I didn't know anything. I believed the media completely. And what finally brought me out of it was in the 2008 election cycle when I was going for Hillary Clinton, and I really started to get upset with the tactics being used by the Obama campaign. And then I'm like, well, wait, what's going on here? Wait, maybe I need to look at this more. So then I did start doing research. I did start looking into things more and so forth. As John just said, we've been around for a long time. Somebody mentioned it, Delilah, you said on Twitter when I told you who we were, you're like, wait a second. I remember Amazing Atheist in like 2008 talking about somebody named John Villarreal. Is that your brother? Yep, that's my brother.
I've got a comment on I've got a comment on that here. I think I'm going to hold it. Is it, we're trying to, we're trying to, be careful with the chat and everything like that. And come on in here. I think the YouTube chats I can get. I'm going to monitor X. I'm going to monitor the other socials. It's hard. I mean, I'm probably limited, and I apologize. It's probably won't even show up. I'm probably limited on what can show right now on X because I just got on there. But we're trying to. We will repost to Paul's account here. And look, let me look at it right now with Paul's account. I mean, you're talking about the Vince Manfeld is the account. 17,000 you're 16,400 people following Paul right there. Unbelievable. And he's really getting out there now. I don't know if you want to change. I don't know. He's working through that account here. He's doing it. The identity has been revealed, and here we go. Okay, yes, and we're seeing it. Okay, right there. So people are posting here. It's going crazy here. The socials are going crazy. And listen, we're in a great area right now. We're in a great area. I live right over here. All right, which is I'm in the Tampa Bay area. I'm trying to get this. Let me get right there. I'm in the Tampa Bay area, Sarasota specifically. We've got the show over here at News Talk 1040, and just the amount of concentration of professionals, on the conservative side in this area is just huge. So you've got, I don't want to list locations and stuff like that, and I'm not revealing anything that isn't already public information. In my opinion, that's what I understand. But you've got Tucker Carlson has a place near here, and and people have spotted him. You've got Charlie Kirk that has a place in here. Rumble has worldwide headquarters over there in Longboat Key. You've got Benny Johnson up in the Tampa area. You've got I believe Truth is over here out of Sarasota. You've got so many different people in so many different places out here. I mean, there's really a lot of stuff happening and a lot of influencers happening in this area. And then of course in the greater state of Florida here, you've got a bunch of so many other names there. Patrick Bet David, it just goes on and on and on in terms of the names that are here. Let alone if we get into the real estate stuff and some of these other, which also sort of crosses over into economics and different things as well. So you've got so many different things here, as along with I think the greatest governor in the history of Florida with Ron DeSantis. I just think that, as I said on the show, I think that his campaign really failed him. I think he was such a much better governor than his campaign showed. At the same time, I think the campaign was also very revealing, and I think there's some people that were pretty disappointed that he was running against Trump. And there's some question marks that happened when, you had Jeb Bush coming out in the ad and Karl Rove was talking about how great he was and all these types of things. I mean, don't even get me started on Miami Tech and Francis Suarez, for the last one in, the first one out. And I've talked about that whole thing. How's Miami Tech looking now? And we're not against anybody. We're all pro for it. We're for freedom, peace, love, opportunity for everybody. And really, that was a lot of it, right? I mean, we were canceled before people got canceled. Listen, if I was a sellout, I would have been rich and retired. I really believe that. I can't prove that, but I really do believe that. And I had so many different things going on in Silicon Valley, and that was right when Obama was about to when that election was going, and that's how Paul sort of woke up with some of these things. And it was like, dude, I mean, everything just went off as soon as we started doing the videos and everything like that. And if you look back and you look at how, again, look, we're on X now. Look at the Facebook files. Oh, sorry, the Twitter files. Look at the Twitter files. Okay, and there's so much more of that. You look at all that involvement. Look at all. There's just so much going on. But let's stop with that. Tell me what you do. Why you're so popular on Twitter or X, Paul, and tell me what kind of content that you do, and give people a little bit of insight in. I don't know if you want to reveal the secret sauce, but just kind of, your research process, how your day goes, whatever you want to say. Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, as far as you mentioned, I have 16,500 followers, whatever it is. Of course, everybody listening to this probably already knows that. But as we mentioned earlier, I've been fortunate to have some of the bigger accounts follow me. Now, again, I don't talk about that. I don't bring that up very much. I don't bring it up at all, because I just don't think it's relevant. If you like my stuff, you like my stuff. If you think my stuff is valuable, you think it's valuable, no matter who else thinks it might be valuable. But I can just tell you, here are some of the accounts that do follow me. Dan Bongino, Dinesh D'Souza, Representative Anna Paulina Luna, Representative Matt Gaetz, Representative Corey Mills. I'm trying to think of there's a whole bunch of people. And as we've talked about before, look, people like quality content. And I think some of it is that, the thing that got me the most notoriety on Twitter so far is covering Trump's rallies. And I tend to do kind of a Cliff Notes version of what happened at the rally, but I also talk about kind of the strategy behind it, kind of the how the elements of the production and so on and so forth. And you
give a deeper level of analysis. You give different levels of analysis.
Yeah. Right. That's it. Is because of our background, both in entertainment and, media and politics, we could just, I could see it in a different way. I see it as kind of like a director or a strategist, rather than just somebody who isn't looking at it like that. And so that's been, people have really appreciated that. And, that's brought different people, that's brought them into following me. Look, we want to, keep growing. It's really good. And as you were saying, I mean, I did used to be a liberal. I did have to learn all this. And in some ways, you were always a conservative. You tried to teach me to be a conservative, but I wasn't ready to hear it. But, coming from what I did come from, now I know, nobody's more of a conservative than a former liberal. Right. You're never going to get them back to that. And so it's because I know what I was, and there's no way I ever want to be that again. And particularly now when the stakes are so high. And, the stuff that has happened is unbelievable. So anyway, yeah, that's the deal. It's that's kind of my background with Twitter and stuff. In terms of my research and all, I mean, people know even when I'm doing the rallies, I mean, if I have the time, I'll do tons of research. This place is located here, and here's the venue, and all this other stuff.
Let me just put this in here real quick, because I think this is an important point, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, put you on a pedestal or anything like that, too much. But look, you got serious things going on in your life. You know that, and I know that. We're not kids anymore. You know, a lot of we're at least middle aged and stuff like that. And you sacrificed a lot. And you sacrifice a lot on a daily basis to bring people great content and information, because this means a lot to you, okay? And you're not out there jet setting. You don't have a big yacht. You don't have a big house. You don't have that kind of stuff. You're not chilling out in the Maldives or Norway or Cayman Islands or anything like that. I mean, you care about this country. You were kind of snowed with the propaganda. This means a lot to you, and you want to see people have the same opportunities and freedom and liberty and economy and all that type of stuff that we grew up with, and this is really important. So, and more than anything, you want people to know the truth, or at least have different points of view. As you know it. I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I'm just trying to let people know what the stakes are here and how much personal involvement that you have in this and how committed to it, and showing up for the radio show, for my radio show, and be able to add content in that way. And sometimes you kind of forget, like, oh, I got to go work out, or I got to walk around, or I got to do this, I got to do that, because, and again, I don't want to overplay it. Like, I mean, you keep things in balance and everything as well. But this is something that's very important, and that you put the time into, and you've really made a priority, because you want to see the best for the people, your audience, and of course the country.
Yeah, look, as you know very well, the audience doesn't know it as much. This has been a primary focus of my life for the last 17 years, because I was so... Again, as a liberal who was very much observing what was going on in the 2008 cycle, both of you and I knew what was going on with Team Obama right from the start. And I knew it even better because I was following it moment to moment between the Obama and Clinton clash. And so once I started seeing things really start to change in America, like around 2012 or so, yeah, I mean, like you said, I felt like we were losing what we had as a country, and we were able to grow up with that. And I want that to be able to be the case for the people to come. And like, I feel bad for younger people, because you never knew what it even was. All you know is this nonsense world, and that's just not right. That's not fair. And not only is it important for our country, America is supposed to be a beacon for the world. If we lose that, what happens to everybody else?
Absolutely, what happens to everybody else. And let's spin it forward. So first of all, we have to celebrate you, bro, because I mean, you built up a huge following there on Twitter. And not only did you build up a huge following, you did it anonymously. It wasn't like you're some celebrity or something. It wasn't like anyone could, had anything or trying to get cred or clout off you or anything like that. It was purely the quality. I've got a cine lens here, and sometimes it does some slow pulls there if I'm out of autofocus. You did it anonymously. And that really bespeaks of the quality of the posts and the content. It wasn't about celebrity chasing or clout chasing or anything like that. It was really what you were able to do and what you are able to do in terms of the quality of these posts and just being able to do stuff. And look, that level of analysis, that level of detail is great. Let's spin it forward and let's talk about what people have to look forward to. I mean, we're going to do a lot of things. I will say this. I think we could have been much, much bigger. Like, I don't do... and I know you're the same way, Paul. We don't do we try to add more light than heat. Obviously, we want to be entertaining and we want to do some fun things, and we have the sound effects. We do all kinds of stuff like that. But we try to be very insightful. That's why we are show. I wouldn't be surprised if we're show prep. I mean, I'll say something or we'll say something, and then a month or two or three or weeks later or months later, all of a sudden, a lot of people or everybody's saying it, and so. And I'm not saying it's like that for everything, but I'm telling you, I have specific phrases that you can find over the years that have gotten out there that almost nobody else says it. Right? Cassie the Spurt. Go ahead.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Let me just say this, just because I want to, you pump me up. I want to pump you up. Look, you in the past exchanged emails with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson was, maybe still is your friend on Facebook. he would talk to you.
Let me see.
And of
I
course,
guess that's
everybody
right.
knows how big Tucker Carlson is. Something about us as well. We talked about this, at the YouTube presence. We were in YouTube 2007, 2008.
I'll say this real quick. I just thought, remember this. My picture on my Facebook is me interviewing James Pinkerton, and when he was at the New America
Yes.
Foundation. I mean, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. Well, and this is what I want to say is, we were huge in the conservative space, like back in 2008.
It looks like Tucker might be my friend on Facebook. I'm not alleging that, but there's someone named Tucker Carlson who is my friend on Facebook. I'm not saying that's the Tucker Carlson, but that's yeah.
No, I thought he was, because that's how you exchange emails with him. But anyway, we were really big and early in the conservative scene on YouTube, like real early. And to the extent that everybody knew who we were. Like everybody in the conservative space knew who we were and were coming through us or would come and compliment us. I used to have an old Twitter account called Conservative New Media, which is what we used to be branded as. People like, I can't remember, what's her name? Dr. Gina Loudon.
Dr. Gina Loudon. Yeah, of course.
I remember talking to her on Twitter. She's like, "Oh, I know who you guys are. Is that you?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Right.
So we interviewed Jedediah Bila before she became
I forgot
big.
about that. I forgot about that. That's, of course, Jedediah
We
Bila,
interviewed
of course.
Kayleigh McEnany.
Great.
We interviewed Kayleigh McEnany before she became
Lisa
big.
Daftari.
Lisa Daftari. People were coming to us because we had a top presence on YouTube. I mean, we're not there right now. We've kind of rebranded, but we were crushing this 15, 16 years ago. So,
and we went through and let me tell you something. We went through the fire. People were like, "Hey, with all your stuff, how come you're doing this or how come you're doing that? Whatever." We went through the fire. As Rush Limbaugh says, if they didn't make you, they can't break you. And so, even though we have great people like Ascending, Ricky, other people that have followed us forever, they followed us from the MMA days, or followed us from the Amazing Atheist, stuff, or followed us from the Jeremy Lin stuff, Jake Shields, Cain Velasquez, of course, followed us through all this types of stuff. We've been doing it. And people are like, why don't you just specialize in one thing? Because we do all kinds of things, including the political stuff. And like I was going to say real quick, and I'll let you keep running here. You got me thinking, part of it, Chuck DeVore, I consulted for that campaign. Chuck DeVore, I've done interviews with him. I've done media with him, and he did a great job. I've interviewed Carly Fiorina and stuff when she was doing her campaign out in California and stuff. I mean, there's so many different people that we've been connected with, and I really do believe. Again, I can't prove this, and who knows, or there's no 100%, but I definitely believe I would have had a much better shot at being retired and everything and rich and stuff if I would have either been a sellout or just would have shut my mouth. But I care so much about this country and your freedom and your liberty and your ability to do things in this great country and the founding principles of this country and in a constitutional republic and your children and grandchildren, that I had to step up, and Paul had to step up. And what we're going to do, part of what we're going to do here, because again, you see with the corporate, now it makes sense to everybody. Before, oh, you guys are crazy, tinfoil house. If they'll cancel Tucker Carlson, the #1 show on cable television, they'll cancel anybody. If they'll cancel Russell Brand, if they'll cancel these great doctors at Stanford, if they'll cancel, fill in the name, dude. Okay, if they can try to cancel President Trump, who used to be a billionaire, worldwide celebrity, used to be president of the United States, they can cancel almost anybody, if not anybody. I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I mean, this is a pretty important election. Now, what I'm saying is this: is that we're going to do some things because you can't trust the corporate media, or you can trust the corporate media to be corporate media. And look at what Cat Williams has said. And so we're going to do things like Patreon and X, and we're going to look at Rumble, of course. And I've got some contacts over there, and obviously we're very we see what they've done there, and all the platforms. It's great. I mean, we might do Substack. We might be doing a subscription thing. We might be doing an insider club. We're going to be looking at different things to obviously make a business out of this, monetize this, to be able to do this in a full-time basis. So we can make this a full-time basis and bring you better and bigger and more awesome content and do all kinds of different things. But also because we do not want to be dependent on any one platform. We do not want to be dependent on the corporate media and stuff like that. I mean, I'm very happy with News Talk 1040, and the management and the ownership there have been very supportive of me and never tell me, oh, I've got free reign to do whatever I want and all that. But I've never chased the network news. I know what independent media is, and I know what corporate media is. And if we can do this with you, the audience in here, it's much better. And when we saw, that's why when we're talking around square the circle, and let Paul, if he wants to continue to talk about me or anything else, that's fine. It's like, look, Paul, you've built this up. I know you've gone anonymous, but it's the time is now. The Iowa caucuses are stepping up. It's time to step up and step out of the shadows. Let's bring everything together. Let's synergize this. We don't want to fumble the football on fourth and goal here or whatever that it is. Let's stand up and be counted for here. It's time to re-engage and let's say what we have to say. And that's what brought us to tonight. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, look, my number one priority right now at this time in terms of an overall perspective is I want Trump to be elected in 2024. And I've been putting a lot of effort into that. And I'm going to put more effort into that. And we're going to be able to try to do that. And the faster we can have our own infrastructure built up, that we can do.
Well, let me step in here and say this. We're not affiliated with the campaign whatsoever. We haven't been in contact with the campaign anytime recently. We're talk show hosts. We're content creators. This has nothing to do with anything elections or campaigns. This is Paul's personal opinion, and this is our opinion as show hosts or as a show, and it's talking about stuff, things like that. So there is no involvement or official affiliation with the Trump campaign. This is Paul's personal opinion as a content creator here on X and the other platforms. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, so that is where I'm coming from. Now, look, coming back to, two things. First of all, you talked about, we were being throttled and canceled and all of this way back before people even knew it was a thing. And we had to try to convince people that it was happening to us. I mean, we both know this. That's why I'm was anonymous right now. I mean, there's a lot of people on X and other places that are anonymous. And people were telling me after I revealed my identity tonight, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, look, believe me, we know what it is. People have tried to, come after us before and slime us and all this different stuff. So we've both been through that. Definitely understand that. And it's been going on plenty of times. One of the things that made me not happy with the current Democratic Party and some of its leaders they're super, they'll come after you. They'll be aggressive. They'll do lawfare. They'll do this or that. That's what it looks like anyway. And so, yeah, that really, really made me displeased with them and want to get as far away from the Democrat Party as I could. Now, the second thing I want to say is John has spent a significant amount of time. Again, he graduated from Berkeley, double graduate, including JD. His specialty, I believe, in law school was intellectual property because, of course, Silicon Valley is tech land.
Venture capital, intellectual property. Corporate securities, venture capital, intellectual property. Go ahead.
John did a bunch of stuff in Silicon Valley. He was around the heavy hitters. He knows the people.
Super
he knows
heavy
people
hitters.
that
the biggest
knows.
names. The biggest names. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is, like I said, so he has that background. He knows that playing field. I was also in Silicon Valley for a bit. And that's, like I said, that's one of the things that we can bring is we can talk to you about the farm. We can talk to you about Appalachia. We can talk to you about Silicon Valley. We can talk to you about sports. John didn't even mention it. John's a 4-time national powerlifting champion and was a very, very serious amateur wrestling guy. So it's like we didn't even mention that.
Undefeated my last year, wrestled with USA Wrestling for a little bit. And I will say also with Silicon Valley and stuff like that, I literally was in a venture fund with a former CEO of Apple, Gil Amelio. Okay, I've met Sam Colella, I've met Don Valentine, I've met Mike Moritz, I've met people from Intel Capital, I've met top people from Cisco. I mean, I can go on down the list, just crazy names. And a lot of it. Listen, a lot of it absolutely was because of my former boss. I mean, I'd say most of it. Right, was for my, again, who was it, Newton or someone? I could see far because I stood on the shoulders of giants. My former boss, Mario Rosati, was the guy. I mean, and I took securities from Larry Sonsini. Mario and Larry were both.
And who's Mario Rosati? Sorry,
excuse me. Mario Rosati and Larry Sonsini are two of the founders of the absolute quintessential big super law firm in Silicon Valley. It started in Silicon Valley called Wilson, Sonsini, Goodrich, and Rosati. And it's still a top AM Law 100 firm, everything like that. At that time, when I was there, it was the firm. It was the number one firm. Now, it was right there with Cooley. There's a lot of other great firms. Cooley, Godward was known for a little bit more investor representation. Wilson Sonsini was more of founders and company, representation. Everyone did everything. So don't get me wrong. I mean, you had Gunderson Detmer and you had VLG, Venture Law Group, and Fenwick was across. And this was on 650 Page Mill Road. But if you were a founder, like literally Steve Jobs and Wozniak rode up in a bicycle and I think Mario and Larry and founded their company there. I mean, almost every name you could name in Silicon Valley. I don't want to say it that way. The huge names run through there. They represent Google. They represent, just Cisco. Just go on down the list, and that's who they represent. Yeah. And so Mario was the Larry was more public company, going public, that kind of stuff. I think Larry Sonsini was on the board of the New York Stock Exchange. Mario was much more of startup, venture capital, that kind of stuff. And so, I would exchange emails or phone calls with Brooke Byers and John Doerr. And I'm telling you, like the biggest names, of course. And I went to the Churchill Club when that was a thing. And I was on, I was a founding host of GameSpot TV. You can't find it on Wikipedia. Yeah. That's how I'm not going to legend anything, but maybe that's an indication. I wouldn't surprise me if that's an indication. I'm going to form it as a question of how maybe I got canceled. It's kind of weird that the guy who was the founding host, along with Adam and Lauren. Now, in fairness, those two were placed there. They found out who I was. Miguel Gonzaga, who was executive producer of that show. I was on New Media News with Suzanne Shaw and stuff. I came in there. I did a spot for them. They found out that I was a world-class gamer and I was doing video game deals and I could talk and broadcast.
That's right.
Right? Remember
You're
that?
a world-class gamer. Yeah.
I'm a world-class gamer and stuff like that.
Or at least you are.
Right. So I know, I was up for like a CMO position for a big, video game company not that long ago, of someone who is the family of Silicon Valley royalty and stuff. I'm not going to out them right here. But the point is if the gaming and the Twitch and all that stuff was a little bit earlier, I probably would have been rich and retired. Like I was Dr. Disrespect before there's Dr. Disrespect. And I love Dr. Disrespect. Yeah. He's great. He did a great job. But the point I'm trying to say is, if you go to Wikipedia and you look at GameSpot TV, you can't find my name anywhere. And I've got the videotapes right over there and the pay stubs and all that stuff. I've got all the receipts. Yep. And I just can't wait. I'm hoping that the VHS tapes are still good because I want to transfer those into digital. I had those up before. And I can't wait to drop that. And the people like the gamers, the historians of the show and this and that, whatever. I can't wait to be just facial. And that just shows you how controlled. You want to talk about the Matrix? You want to talk about Red Pill? You want to talk about that is so factual. Dude, I flew out with Adam to GameWorks in Las Vegas. I was at Ferrari Day when they were up at I forget what they call it. They changed the name.
Adam Sessler.
With Adam Sessler. I've got pictures on my dang LinkedIn with Adam Sessler, bro, at GDC, at the Game Developers Conference. I have quotes from people about the game developers. You can ask Rick Marizani. You can ask John Cedar. You can ask so many different... Trip Hawkins, who used to be the CEO of Electronic Arts, who then went to Elevation Partners, with Bono and a bunch of other and so many other places right there. So excuse me. Trip Hawkins was Digital Chocolate. Sorry, there's John. It starts with it. Sorry, dude. I've done due diligence.
Let me just
Go
ask
ahead.
you this. I want you to set you up.
Oh
with
man,
this.
you got me rolling now.
I know
This
there's
just
so many
shows you.
things. Look, let me just say this quickly before I ask you this. The point of all of this is not about us going through and
No
patting
one's saying
ourselves
it,
on
but
the
we've
back.
been through it.
This is to give you. Oh, wait, hang on. This is to give you guys, the audience, an idea of what our background is and what we're bringing to the table. We have a lot of background, a lot of perspective, and we can bring it from a whole different set of angles. And that's what we want to bring to you guys. And that's what we are bringing to you guys. And a lot of people don't have the same breadth of background. That's why we're talking about this, just so to get you guys, let you guys know who we are and what we're all about. Now, what I want you to tell them, John, is not everybody knows what GameSpot TV is. I want you to tell them what GameSpot TV is, what network it was on, the John Dvorak stuff, and also what type of radio hosting you've done.
Fair enough. Okay, and I want to say this, and what Paul said. This is why I get passionate about this. A couple reasons. And I think because of the pandemic and what's happened recently and what's happening now, people can tune in on it and they can feel it and they can understand how visceral this is as a country. Right? It's not about I'm so great, Paul's so great, everything. I mean, look, we like to think that we're smart.
It's not about that.
It's not about that at all.
We're saying this.
No. But what I'm saying is, we've done some things, we've been to some places, we've met some people, we have value to add, and we try to add that, right? And so it's that combination of intelligence, experience with broadcastability and entertainment value to try to bring you something. But it's more of a if we're still in a world, in a land where meritocracy rules, where the best people should prosper, where everyone has an opportunity, where this is the land of the free, the home of the brave, and there really is upward mobility, there really is the land of opportunity. How can you cancel someone that was a world-class game? If it happened, and I'm not saying, I can't prove a negative, stuff like that, but I can just tell you things went from on fuego to like lights out really quick. And you can Google stuff and you can Google stuff out there. There's a lot of hate stuff out there about me. There's a lot of weird stuff out there. Yeah. Look at Paul. We had the New York Times. Jeff Zeleny and the other person, New York Times.
I didn't tell him that.
Yeah. The New York Times, around this time when we were, let me set a little more context. Our YouTube was blowing up. The YouTube was blowing up so fast. My YouTube was blowing up so fast. It was growing like 20, 30% per month at certain times. I can't get into numbers, but it was like a full-time situation. It was growing fast and it just crashed. Okay. Like real quick, dude, it all shut off. We were growing so fast and getting followers and getting subscribers. And because once you get to a certain critical mass, it's sort of game over. Right. And so, the point of this is how do you have the founding person of GameSpot? They have on the Wikipedia someone that wasn't even on the show at first. They're like, oh, so-and-so was supposed to be on the show, but they weren't on the show. I was there. Episode number one. Episode number one. I was the guy in the ring when they show that Adam Sessler, and they're like, oh, Adam Sessler's first thing. You can see this on YouTube. Check it out. And they showed someone in the ring. I'm in the ring. I'm the guy in the ring, dude. And they don't even have me on Wikipedia. So if they can cancel me, someone who's a Berkeley lawyer, someone who has a name, someone that I was on Silicon Spin with John Dvorak. So GameSpot TV was a television show by GameSpot, the magazine, the online, and nothing against GameSpot.
What network was?
We love GameSpot. I love GameSpot. I love my video game peeps and everything like that. It was on ZDTV that launched in the Sega building in San Francisco, and I would go from I lived in Silicon Valley. I would drive down 280 to the Sega building on Fridays. We shot Friday morning. We would shoot one show, it was a 30-minute show, and then afterwards, John Dvorak loved me so much because I had great quotes, and I was on with Rebecca Eisenberg, and I can't remember. Yep. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. I'd add Alex Mashinsky and those kind of guys, and I would have the quote of the week for a month. And I was Dvorak wanted me to guest host with him.
Dvorak loved you.
Love me,
bro. Was the
host.
It was kind of like a McLaughlin group for Silicon Valley. And just to be clear, ZDTV, I can't remember what it's renamed to now, but this is the national network. I mean, this is a national network, and they wanted John big time. And, so no surprise. And he did multiple shows.
Right. My friends who went to Wharton MBA, who went to law school together, and Slew, was watching me on TV when he was going to Wharton. It's like, oh, I love this show, whatever. I mean, the facts are out there, dude. This is like one of those things where, whether it was the UFO sightings of, too many people have seen too many things, bro, but they try to snow you. So Wikipedia, that it goes out there, and that's not Wikipedia's fault. It's whoever's editing this thing. I'm not blaming Wikipedia.
Well, we know Wikipedia is not great in the minds of a lot of people.
I'm just telling you, dude. And I did a special event with the Bartolo and stuff. We did a special event with the 49ers, and I was doing that, and I was sitting there with JJ Stokes and stuff like that. And JJ Stokes went to one of my parties when I launched one of these things over there in San Ramon and Pleasanton and stuff. And so he could tell you, I mean, there's just too many points of interest. Call up Miguel Gonzaga, call up Adam Sessler, call up Lord Fielder, call up these different people that were there on the show, dude. Okay, so I mean, but the point, it's not so. I'm just trying to explain to you. So when I talked to people on LinkedIn, why are you in the car business? When I talked to people at Johns Hopkins, and I love Johns Hopkins, don't get me wrong. Like, oh yeah, I think I make stuff up. I don't make it up, dude. I know. Listen, there's only one person who walked on water, and it wasn't me. Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is they did not understand the level of experience and how close we were. And if they can ruin Alex Berenson, they can ruin me. If they can ruin Donald Trump, they can ruin me. Paul and I were doing this and doing it for you before any of this was cool or fashionable, whatever. But like the Phoenix, we keep coming back and reinventing itself, because as Cat Williams says, the truth will not be denied in 2024. And that's what we're talking about, player. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, now, like I said, in a second, I want you to talk about your radio experience, but I'll just say this really quickly. Everybody knows now where Silicon Valley, what is called Silicon Valley values.
Please.
Usually is
and Elon, we're live on X. Thing. Elon, I mean, look at what they've done. Look at what they're doing to Elon.
Thank goodness, Elon. Yeah.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you, Elon. Go ahead, Paul.
Yes, thank you. But we got canceled, we think, quote unquote, from Silicon Valley very early on. We were having too much success on YouTube. We were getting too much run. John himself was doing too well in Silicon Valley. Guess what? That's when things started to turn more political, and suddenly we're cut. We're not getting any run. We're not getting our stuff is throttled, whatever. And this is back in 2008, 2009.
Let me just very, very quickly, let me say this, because this is important. And I you know me out there. I never make a thing of this. Okay. I'm not saying never, ever, ever, but this isn't my thing. Like, I'm an American. I'm an individual. I stand on my own. I don't like the group thing. I don't like the identity thing. I don't like any of that type of stuff. But I will say that some people in the political media space, whatever like that, and Cat Williams talks about this. Okay. Maybe some people weren't super excited to see someone that was with a Hispanic last name of mixed race or whatever. And that's so stupid. It's a human race. I hate all that stuff. But a Hispanic last name, okay,
right,
that was really conservative and articulate and successful and training pro athletes. And because remember, when you're talking about the cultural Marxists, they have to control the culture. You can't be cool and conservative. They don't want you to be smart and conservative. I'm a legit super genius, a proven super genius, okay? And so when you have these things, that back then, that was a big thing. They had, remember George W. Bush and Marco Rubio? Hey, they were going to bring they were going to make inroads in the Hispanic community. Well, guess who's made more inroads into minority communities than anybody? Donald Trump, President Trump. Why? Because people care. We're all the same, dude. Everybody wants good jobs and good families and stuff like that. And people are waking up and they're no longer dealing with this propaganda. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, look, I think the last piece of background we want to talk about is your radio stuff, and then we can just start talking about issues of the day. But we had to do this. We had to set the table and kind of let you guys know who we are, what our background is. Obviously, you need to know who I am, because you didn't have any idea who I was based on my, anonymity. And as we said, we're doing this not to not to pump ourselves up, but just to give you an idea of who we are, what we've done, where we've been. And hopefully that will bring value to you going forward.
Cheryl has a special message here. Cheryl Zhang. John talks too much. People want to listen more to Paul. Well, that's probably true. I am a talk show host out over there, and I go on my little runs here because we are passionate about this. We have a lot to talk about. We're trying to show
That's
20.
okay.
Go ahead.
It's okay, but like we'll mix it up. Like I said, is John's like, I mean, a lot of times on the radio show, John does most of the talking and I come in, and that's fine because it's his show. But when we do these podcasts, we can mix it up more. And John's talking right now a lot because honestly, he has more background to talk about in terms of his career path and what he's done than I do. And right now, what we're doing in this space is just talking about our background. When we start talking about what's going on in politics and everything right now, then we'll probably have more of an even split.
Well, and this is the thing, and this is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about it and everything like that is you don't understand. Like, I did everything right. I was lined up. I was balling, bro. I was balling. I mean, I can't, you want, it was like this close to Entourage with what my life was like. And Paul will tell you that. Paul was there. I mean, and honestly, it got even better when I was, after that and stuff like that. Like, I was literally going to spring training. I was literally hanging out at, a professional baseball players, superstars' houses and stuff like that. I was literally getting invited to the Playboy Mansion and things of this nature. Never went. So let's not get those rumors out there. But I literally had, Playboy models at my house, a Penthouse Pen of the Year, Julie Strain at my house. I mean, I had, the big $100,000 cars like 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I was balling, dude. I was making major money. I was on a national TV show. I was a national champion. I had, I had a phone full of people I could call to go hang out with. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it was that amazing, and it all shut off, dude. And I had the whole thing. I mean, if you couldn't pencil it up any better than that. And it all shut up. I gave up all of it, and it was shut down. And again, I can't prove what they did. I'm not saying. All I can say is this, because people are like, oh, you're crazy. Look at what's happened to everybody now. Nobody thinks that's crazy anymore because it's happening all over the place. People are scared. They were scared for Paul to reveal himself. And let me tell you, like Paul, we're smart. But I'm nobody. Paul's nobody. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the one question of the most cynical. So, well, let me finish this thought. The reason I'm passionate about it is I gave it up because I believe in you. I believe in this country. I believe in the promise of what this country. I grew up when Reagan was there, and the whiz kids and Stockman and everything like that. I would read the Federalist Papers of Alexander Hamilton and John Adams and all the rest like that. And I believe in this stuff. And maybe it's silly and that's corny or whatever like that. If all you are is about money. And even Dave Chappelle and Elon Musk and everything and who else has said it? They did it on the Great Spaces, and it was great. I listened to it. I told Paul, you got to listen to this. And Andrew Tate was in there, and Vivek Ramaswamy was in there.
Yeah,
and you can have
great.
all this money. All money is just something on a piece of paper saying you own something. Well, guess what? The government can sign another piece of paper saying no, you don't. So it can all evaporate like this, dude. And we've seen it in other countries. Look at the people that have come over here from Cuba, lost everything. People have come over here from Venezuela or Hong Kong or different places, lost everything. So, I mean, what's really valuable? You look at the real greats in history, right? Recent history, right? Mother Teresa. Indira Gandhi, Dr. Martin Luther King, all these types of people, Nelson Mandela and stuff like that. I mean, they can take everything, or you want to go all the way back to, Jesus and everything like that. I mean, you can take, that's a whole different level. And that's obviously, that's God and everything. Okay. I'm not trying to get religious here, but the point of it is money and success is one thing. And if you worship that and you're all about that, and you're missing out on a lot. Because they can take everything from you, but you cannot let them take away your mind and your dignity and your family. Family and your mind and freedom and liberty and opportunity, that's what's really important. And I have to say that if you don't stand up for something and you don't speak up for something, then what good are you? You can be a sellout like everybody else. And that's what Cat Williams said. Why do you think Cat Williams' thing has exploded? So yeah, this is why I'm sorry, Sherelle. This is why I'm talking a lot about this, because how many people And I'm not trying to put anyone on blast. We appreciate you coming in here. But how many people would have put it all on the line that had all that stuff? I had it. I had everything. All I needed to do is be quiet and do no videos. If I would have just kept doing my thing and do no videos, it would have been game over. And I've got people in my own family, and I'm not trying to call my family out, that look at me as a loser, as whatever, as just out there, whatever like that. And they think that, but I've done so much more than them, and I know what it is, and I've met these people. And again, I'm not trying to be whatever, but I mean, you can have think about this. Do you want to live a life where you have tons of money and you're really comfortable and all that, but then you realize, as you're getting near the end of your life, that you sacrifice your principles, or you didn't even know what was going on, or you were fooled your entire life? How would that go over? Do you want to be that person? And that's what we're talking about here. Or do you want to say, you know what? I want to live in a place where everybody's got a vote. Everybody's got a chance. My child has a chance. You have a chance. We can do this together. That we believe, yes, we're a caring, loving society, and we want to help people up, and we want to give people opportunity, and we want to give a ladder to success, and we want to mentor people, and we want to diverse everything, society, workplace, all this types of stuff. But it has to be merit based. You can have mentorship and you can have opportunities, but you have to have an equal playing field. You have to have equality of opportunity, not equality of result. And you can't have this forced top down situation where you can't say this, you can't say that, you can be canceled, and all these types of things. That's what we have to avoid. So yes, if I have to personally sacrifice, and that's why this reveal is so important, because Paul and I, in different ways, have sacrificed so much for you and for this country, and of course for what we believe in. And if you don't stand up for what you believe in, what good are you? That's what I have to say about that. So that's why I'm talking a lot, Cheryl. So I apologize about that. Go ahead, Paul. Close it out here. It's a powerful show. This is an interesting show.
Yeah, it's a great show. Like I said, look, if you want, you can still talk about your radio background. I mean,
real quick. Just super quick.
Times.
Yeah, real quick I'll skim that real quick. So basically, my buddy of mine called Rick Marizani. We went to high school together, and Rick's a really smart guy, great broadcaster, everything like that. Very cool guy. And he went out to Utah. And I think he was hanging out with one of our other buddies, Leon Atkinson, another really bright individual, really great person. And we all grew up I finished high school in Martinez, California. And so Rick's out there, and he got him.
Bay Area, California.
East Bay Area, yep. And Rick got himself basically into a position, I think operations manager or program director or something like that. I mean, he was operations manager at one, but anyway, at a radio station called 630 AM, 630, The Voice of Utah, K-Talk, The Voice of Utah. And one of their hosts left or something. I don't know what happened, but he needed a fill-in host for the summer, once a week on Sundays for the summer. And he knew that I knew a lot about politics and I can talk and whatever. And I was doing it by phone, and it was not unlike this. I was kind of rambling and blah, blah, blah. But that was really good, And in fact, as he went over to the next station, KCNR, bigger station and stuff like that, and he was operations director there, people were still calling and still asking about my show and stuff like that. So before law school, I went out there and I would run the news boards during the week, and I had my show on the weekends, and it exploded, and I was doing amazing. And I talked to the great Jack Swanson, who launched Michael Savage and Bernie Ward and all these other, Ray Talaferro, these great talents in the San Francisco Bay Area running KSFO and KGO. And he talked to me, and he's like, at the end of that conversation, he's like, you're a natural. Come on in here. We want to talk to you. And I talked to Robin Bertolucci, and they put me on as a fill-in for Spencer Hughes. And then I went and did fill-in sometimes for, what's her name? Oh, she's on Fox News. Leslie Marshall up in... she would do KGO, and she would do up in Hot Talk 1140 up in when they were, and they, I can't remember the call letters of that in Sacramento. And KHTK, yeah, absolutely. And Grant Napier was on the Suns, not the Suns, right? At the Kings and all that. So I would do news.
Wasn't that Russia station?
No. That was KFBK was Rush's station, and then
That's right.
KHTK, KFBK was Rush's station where he launched in Sacramento. KHTK was the home of the Kings and Grant Napier and all that type of stuff. And they were a news talk station, and they flipped over into sports. And I came in on April 1st.
Yes.
Yep, I came in on April 1st as a test, and I just was shooting fire. And I basically, this was back when the Kings were about a 50% ball club, and they packed stadiums at Arco, and Mike Bibby and these people there, and they're like, oh, the Kings are great, whatever. But I felt like they weren't playing with heart because I was a 4-time national champion, whatever like that. And I just excoriated them, and it was awesome. And people were just like, didn't know what to do. And Napier, and it was like, it was so hilarious. And people literally were calling up Jim Rome's program saying, John Villarreal, you have to hear this guy. You've got to hear him. So yeah, I apologize, Cheryl. I can get on my little roles and stuff like that, but it was hot radio, and from there.
Look, you have to understand. Look, can I just say something about
Go.
that? Look, I can't remember. I'm sorry, Cheryl. I have to look at your thing. If I see your thing, I know exactly who you are. One of the things you have to understand is that many of the people listening to this show right now are coming through my account, so they're used to me. Like, I'm the person they're attached to. You know what I mean? So it's like, of course, they want to hear me because that's who they're used to interacting with. So that's not a big deal. I mean, that's just a natural thing. But as they get to know you more, then, you're probably going to feel that same thing with you, especially because you're such a good presenter and host. So that's nothing. That's nothing for nothing. I wouldn't even worry about that. And, so.
No, that's totally fine. I'm not worried about that at all, and that's fine. It's all good. Some people are gonna like me. Some people are gonna like you. That's why it's great. It's a great pairing. You know what I mean? Like we both can do our things,
yes.
And I think it's a great thing. You can't have Abbott and Costello if both are Abbott and both are Costello. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
So it's fantastic. Right. And listen, and this is what's great about Paul and I and being brothers and stuff like that. I mean, even my owner and it's something like of the race.
Yes.
Paul does a great job.
Yes.
We're brothers. Like, dude. I mean, this is not even a working relationship. There's no getting rid of either one of us. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is how we are. This is how I am. And this is how Paul is. And that's what people want, that authenticity. Go ahead, Paul.
Let me just say this. John and I are 14 months apart. A lot of ways we're like twins, but we're different. And one of the reasons why we do work together in radio and on podcasts and everything is because we complement each other. John said Abbott and Costello. For people who don't know, that's an old-time comedy team that worked well together, even though they were different. They worked well because they were different. So John and I, in a lot of ways, are similar, but in many ways, we are different. And so if you don't like one of us, you'll probably like the other one. And that's totally fine, but it does work, which is what his station managers told him. And look, I just call in, and I call in a fair amount, and they like it. You know what I mean? Because it makes for it's good content. That's the easiest way to say it. So.
Right. So I've done shows, and anytime I want to get on the radio, I can get on the radio. If I want to be on TV, I can go get on TV. I can't guarantee that, but I've never really had a problem. You know what I mean? So I've been on Morning Joe, as a person facing the crowd.
Right.
Yeah. I met Joe Scarborough.
Miami or wherever that was.
Miami, facing the crowd kind of thing. And Willie Geist interviewed me for a second and whatever like that. I've been on America's Talking. I've been on, I can't remember the show, with the national show with Genevieve Wood. Tom Fitton. I was on a panel with Tom Fitton way back before Tom was hitting the weights
nice.
and stuff.
Yeah, that's of course Judicial Watch.
Yeah, Judicial Watch. He's doing a good job. So I've been in the game for so long, and so I don't do it for fame. I mean, it's cool and whatever like that. I do it for, because I want to have impact and stuff like that. And again, we're not, it's of course. Yeah, listen, if I could be a full-time content creator and make tons of money, of course, that's great. That's fantastic. Like, who wouldn't want to do that if you're doing it? But I mean, I've done it on the side because it's not like. Some people want to be famous or maybe be going for that. That's not exactly what Paul and I are going for. There's a lot of things I could do.
No,
I could just niche down and we could be like, whatever. I'm not trying to be a punk or anything like that, but I could set up the table and, prove me wrong or fill in the blank. You know what I mean? Right. And I'm not, and we're not. We're not into that. I'm not doing shorts. I'm not trying to, do all that type of deal. I mean, again, whatever. There's no, and maybe I'm dumb, right? Honestly, like whatever you're doing, if that's what you're doing, you're successful. Then as long as you're not hurting anyone else or whatever, and then God bless you. That's fine. So anyway. Look, that's what it is. I've done radio in Miami. I've done radio here in Tampa. I've had offers to syndicate my stuff. One of my TV shows, when I flipped over from radio into TV, started out with cable access, grew that. Pretty soon I was on, broadcast. I was pretty much over Northern California and even greater parts of California. And then I got, the network affiliate, NBC network affiliate, spot. And then I got the national TV deal with ZDTV and GameSpot TV. And yeah, I mean, I've just done some stuff over the time, and this is what's great though. When YouTube became really viable, then we went all in on that, and I knew that was the way to go, and we were just growing super fast until we started doing the videos on Obama and the conservative media stuff, and then just things changed really quick.
Yes,
I don't know,
did.
maybe. Who knows? We're not alleging anything. Maybe but could have been totally coincidental. And financial situations changed and everything like that. And the New York Times started knocking and wanting to do, metaphorically speaking, and wanting to interview.
We didn't. Let me just tell that.
Go ahead. Yeah,
let me just tell that story because we didn't do that.
Yeah. And Paul thought I was trying to, real quick, and Paul thought I was trying to I didn't want him to be a star, and here's his breakout moment, and I'm trying to shut him down. And I'm like, hey, bro, they're not calling you to do a puppy. This isn't People Magazine. Go ahead.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. This was very similar to what's happened to the Dilly meme team, which the New York Times reached out to them like, hey, we want to talk to you and all this stuff. Well, guess what? They reached out to them because they want to make them look bad.
Hold on one second. Let me just say this. I forgot. The New York Times had already done something on me, right? It was the Weekender or something, or digital, or it was some kind of, because I had done an analysis of the final Sopranos episode. And if you could look at there, and the headline was,
you did a video YouTube analysis.
Yeah, and the headline was, "My car's better than AJ Soprano's," and it was basically like tongue in cheek with me, but kind of taking some shots at me and stuff like that. So
of course
we were already on, and I had other sites that were just I'd never heard of that were taking runs at me and trying to drag my name through the mud, and I had people that were impersonating me that were totally fake stuff. There's a lot of fake stuff that's still out there about me. So I already knew what was coming, and having gone through the political stuff and having gone through that, I knew what was coming. I knew we were on the radar screen. Okay. And now that you're looking back, you see how involved, in my opinion, the left and the Obamas were in Silicon Valley and the different culture stuff and ESPN and all these different things. And of course, now we're, again, the Twitter files and all these types of things. And so now I'll set this up, so I'll turn over to Paul. Here comes the New York Times, like serious big time reporters for the print, calling up Paul. And here we go. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. Okay. So, and let me just say this really quickly, because just to kind of pull back a little bit. Look, after we get done with all of this background and everything like this, right now our focus is going to be on, what's going on politically, and of course, New Hampshire. But we're just, again, today is the setup show. Now, coming back to this. So what happened is I was doing some pretty successful videos at that time, right around the time of the 2008 election. There was one in particular that I did that was kind of it's been so long. I want to say it was about Obama's pastor, I think, and kind of different things. And it blew up. It got huge. And so the New York Times, just like John said, came knocking. And also,
Paul, sorry, not to interrupt. I just want to say, I'm not telling you what to do, but let's keep everything. It's been a long 10, 15 years. Let's keep everything as high level and generic as possible, but and then get into the details where needed. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I don't even remember. The video's been so long ago, but I might have been that. I did so many videos at that time. So the point was is that the New York Times called up to interview me, and I accepted it, which was probably a mistake. When John, I think, was telling me, I don't know if you want to do that, but I did. And of course, when I was written up, it was not complimentary. And I helped them by giving them quotes.
Definitely not.
It's today I would never do that because I know too much to do that. But at that time, that was when I was transitioning from liberal to conservative, and I was still naive, still didn't get it. I still thought the media was maybe the media is good.
All the news that's fit to print.
Yeah. Now, of course, I know far better than that. But at that time, I didn't know anything. I was naive, and I was a novice in a lot of those aspects.
And look, can I let me just take a quick aside here. This is important. I don't even remember all the videos. We've done almost 7,000 videws. 7,000
so
videos.
Many videos.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know
close
what it was.
I don't know what it is, but it's close to 7. It's between 6,000 and 7,000 videos. Okay.
Yeah.
And stuff I did. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. Who doesn't make mistakes in your life? And I'm sure there was some dumb videos, and I'm sure there were some mistakes, and I'm sure there's some things that need to be corrected. And if I've ever made a mistake or miss, then I apologize, and I'm sorry, and I made a mistake. And I'm sure Paul feels the same way, and I'm sure you feel the same way. And this idea that you're going to cancel people that you're going to have the heavy hand of whomever, a big national newspaper, the paper of record, or whomever else, or government, or who, and again, we're not alleging anything. I'm just saying hypothetically, okay, that's gonna, I mean, look at Joe the plumber. Look what his life got turned upside down, and stuff like that. I mean, so you're gonna cancel people? Kids make mistakes, dude. People make mistakes. People grow and evolve, and we have a First Amendment, and you know why it's number one? Because it's the most important. It says freedom of speech, particularly on political stuff. You've got the right to make mistakes and say stupid things and whatever like that. And I'm not saying that's like everybody should do that. You should always try to be whatever. And I'm not saying that we've done that. I'm saying that everybody makes mistakes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me just say this. I can affirm what John is saying. We did make a gazillion videos. To be honest with you, probably the worst videos, the stupidest videos that I've made.
Don't get specific. Go ahead.
No, I'm not getting specific. The stupidest videos I made were when I was still a Democrat. When I was like a Hillary Clinton supporter, like not happy with the Obama people. That's what I made. When I'm conservative, look, I respect President Obama, not a fan, but it was the people, the Hillary Clinton campaign put some really nasty stuff out about Obama. And I ate it up. I didn't know anything then. So, I definitely, like John said, we've made so many videos. I made some dumb videos that I would never make again today. And, but I've learned a lot. At that point in time, I didn't know anything. I knew nothing about anything. And I was a naive novice who just didn't know the game. Now I do know the game. So like I said, you have to make mistakes to learn. And I tell you, people talk to me all the time on Twitter and they'll send me stuff and, hey, repost this and repost that. And I have to tell them, you don't really want to put that up because that's not really what you want to say. And not what you want to, how you want to say it. But at that time, back in 2008, I didn't know that. I was that person who didn't understand that. So, as John said, people make mistakes. You don't cancel people for that. That's silly. And the only reason you do that, in my opinion, is because, you're just, you're just trying to control everything. And that's not the way to do it.
That's not the way to do it. And again, as we'll transition here, we'll talk about New Hampshire and stuff. And I know we can't go too long because I got to do some stuff with the family and everything, and get ready for work tomorrow and all of that. But I mean, look, and I don't want to belabor this point, but I mean, I had it all, dude. I had everything dialed in. I had it all, and I started from for a poor boy in Western Pennsylvania. Starting from nothing, I had worked my way up. I had it all, and I see how people sometimes look at me and stuff. And again, contacts of mine or people, with my credentials, they can't believe it with my credentials, and believe it. If they can cancel, they're trying to ruin the richest man in the world, dude. Who, I'm a super genius. Everything. He's probably smarter than me. Elon is is ridiculous. Okay, in terms of what he's been able to do and stuff like that. And I'm sure I'll never accomplish anything like that. I mean, you kidding me, dude? He's changing all kinds of stuff. He's changing space travel. He's changed how you buy a car. He's changing car travel stuff. But I mean, and I know people on Elon's board. I know people that were investors in Tesla and stuff like that. People like Aaron Price and all kinds of, I'm not trying, I don't want to get him in trouble. And so, I mean, I know you don't even know, dude. I know so many people. And it's crazy, bro. I know people that I could just call up on the cell phone, stuff like that, and they probably wouldn't take my call now. But I do think that what we've been through as a country, as a world, actually, as a world with the pandemic and the last 3 or 4 years have woken a lot of people up, Paul. These last 3 to 5 years have changed everything. And that's why I think 2024 is going to be so impactful. And just knowing, again, it's just that call, and again, I'm at a point now where things are going really well and things are lining up. And I know I'm taking risks now. I know you're taking risks now, coming out of anonymity. But, with Iowa and everything, we just thought it's, and Cat Williams and all these, and Tucker Carlson, we thought it's important to be part of this conversation, Paul. And let's talk about New Hampshire. Go ahead.
It is important to be part of this conversation. Look, New Hampshire, as people know, I put out on my account today, and people would know even just from the news has gotten out today. New poll, Trump up 16, 50 to 34. And it's the first poll that has come out that does not include Vivek or Chris Christie, of course, both of whom have dropped out. So it's only 3 people left, and Ron DeSantis is at 5%. What that means is that unless people leave Donald Trump, Nikki Haley is at her ceiling, essentially, or her ceiling with Ron DeSantis' supporters isn't enough to beat Trump. And that's where we're at right now. And if Donald Trump wins New Hampshire, it's pretty much over. It's done because Nikki Haley's best state would be New Hampshire. She's not winning Nevada. She's not going to win South Carolina. In fact, she's probably going to get crushed in South Carolina, which is, of course, her home state and where she was the governor.
Absolutely. And that's it. So listen, that was the background. That's where we're coming from and everything. And I thought that was important to talk about that. And let's spinning it forward. And we talked about before, and we'll wind down here in about 4 minutes. Maybe go to the 9:10 mark here. Huge Trump win. Even Ted Cruz came out and says, he's endorsing Donald Trump and let's coalesce against that. I mean, I think there's some people that have like some never Trumpers or some Democrats that have fantasies of the Operation Chaos or they're, they're going to extend this and some people like that maybe are DeSantis supporters. I have no problem with DeSantis staying in, just show himself as basically the 2028, maybe, being in position for that. Nikki Haley, Governor Haley has no path forward, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of tolerance, if you will. I don't want to say tolerance, I didn't say that. Appetite. I don't think there's going to be a lot of appetite for on the part of voters and the part of elected officials on the Republican side. They're going to want to see a unified ticket here. They're going to want to see people coalesce around President Trump. I think it's going to be extremely clear within a week or 2 weeks, if not already. I mean, to me, it was already clear before, even, but definitely last night made it clear that Monday, that it's Trump. It's all about Trump. And so, this is still going to be a very challenging election. There's still a long ways to go. I expect, 2024 is going to be like a wild, crazy year, but an exciting year, and I think that's it. And listen, part of what we do is, we get animated and stuff like that, but we're very positive. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy, life. We want to try to bring you news you can use and things that are fun and enjoyable and all kinds of different aspects of life. It's not just political. We do talk about lots of different things. We do talk about like sports and lifestyle and everything. So it's going to be really, really fun here. But yeah, I don't see any path forward for any of these candidates at all, especially with Vivek dropping out and endorsing, Trump and now being a Trump surrogate out there. And to the extent that both Haley and DeSantis are in it, it's all but guaranteed that neither one of them can win. Do you agree, Paul?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I just, like I said, it's all about New Hampshire right now. And if Trump wins New Hampshire, that's basically it. That's what I think.
Absolutely. Listen, anything you want to say in closing? This is your big reveal. This is part of why we went on about this, is because nobody knew who Paul was, and nobody knew the background and stuff like that. He was anonymous, and you built up this massive or this significant following, but massive in terms of the powerhouse of people that are following you or retweeting you on X. Tell me why X, and tell me, any final thoughts you want to say with your reveal here.
Yeah, look, so why X? X because one, I could be anonymous. Two, it's the place to be. It's clearly better. I don't like Facebook. I'm not doing Instagram. I'm not, X was the best place for me to be. I thought it was it's clearly the best under Elon. That's the thing. As far as final thoughts, is like, look, I'm happy to meet everybody, quote unquote, officially. And look, this is fun. This is an introduction to who we are, who I am. And we're looking forward to doing more of this. And again, as we go forward, we're not going to the show won't be all about us and our background and everything. That's why we did it in this show. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about culture. We're going to talk about a lot of things. John and I are both. It's funny because most people didn't even realize, I'm in my 50s. Because if you listen to both of us or you looked at us, we don't look like that. We don't talk like that. We don't act like that. We're just here to have fun, entertain you. We have a good time. We laugh, and we bring insight and we bring value. But like I said, that our stuff works and the show works, like the radio show works, because we just kind of flow with the narrative. It's not just chop, chop, chop. It's like a flowing narrative. And again, we have fun. We have a good time, and we want the audience to have a good time and to participate. That's what we're about.
Yeah, that's what we're about. And also, again, not to pat ourselves on the back, but I've been very, very accurate. We've been very accurate in our calls and predictions and different things, whether it's economic stuff, certainly the political stuff, all kinds of different things. And we want to bring you value. And yeah, we have fun, but we also want to do some things to build a full-time economy off of this, a business off of this, and to be able to continue to bring you that value, to be able to add more value, to add value to your life. And I've got all kinds of different theories about, I think there's massive disruption going on right now. I'm worried about the economy. I think that there's going to be big shifts in here. So I want to help people out. I want to, I have tons of education, and I want to be able to, and Paul as well, and we want to be able to help the audience here. So, part of this is to bring you into our world and to be able to communicate, to be able to have a two-way communication, to be able to add value to each other. Because I think that, this, it's individuals all helping each other out, coming together with common cause, and being able to do some fun things. So that's what it is. This is life, and we're bringing you in on it, and we're glad you're here. We appreciate that. I'm proud of what Paul's been able to do and build up there, and I'm so happy he's been able to reveal here and take the victory laps and stuff. And we're all and anyone who saw, who's on the Republican side there and maybe be a supporter of Trump. That's a huge victory lap in terms of what happened in Iowa, and I think what we're looking for in New Hampshire. So it's a lot to talk about here. It's a lot of fun. We look forward to it. We're going to have all kinds. There's my, the show on News Talk 1040. I need to give them a bio and put my picture up. It's been over half a year. I still haven't done that. So I need to do that. It's part of one of the things on the agenda, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it now. I've, on my time off, I have a million other things to do. But anyway, we're going to do that. Shows 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern time and Paul's on it like almost all the time. And that's out of Tampa Bay area, and we live stream on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and now X. Okay. And then obviously I will also, we're also going to be doing things like this. We're going to be doing a lot of other live streams and a lot of other broadcasts outside of that to continue to add stuff and add value. So we may pick some other regular times, but the schedule gets a little bit hectic. So I hate to kind of, until we are able to do this full time, I hate to sort of stick to a certain particular time, but we look forward to it. I appreciate it. And yeah, we look forward to anything. Any last words, Paul?
Hey, it's been great. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking with us. We're hoping to have a lot of fun together going forward, and looking forward to this election. This election season. I think we're all eager for that.
Absolutely. And listen, welcome to all the new contacts and friends out there. And thanks to Ricky and some of the people that have been sticking with us for years and years, over a decade. And I appreciate you. Appreciate that. Wish you all the best to everyone out there. Hey, so for Paul, I'm John. Thanks so much. Big reveal. Paul has revealed it. And now, the next thing is that all these great people that follow Paul, we'll see if some of these people want to come on the radio show and have a conversation with the account and the person that they've been following for all this time. And so we're excited about that. So, and again, for Paul, I'm John. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Good night and have fun.